people. Sorry.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Common Censored Live or Moment of Clarity Live or whatever you want to call it. And this here is Eleanor Goldfield. Sorry, what?
Can you say hey, everybody again? Because every time I edit the audio for the podcast, then I never actually get you saying hey, everybody. It goes, everybody.
Because it hasn't started recording it?
Because there's like a delay.
Okay. There's like a delay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
hey, everybody. How was that? I think you fucked it up. All right, let's try again. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Common Censored. I'm joined by Eleanor Goldfield.
Hello.
And it's a pleasure to have you. Thanks, you guys, for being here. Please click subscribe, share it, do all those cool things. We got a lot of topics to hit on, and we're going to get to them. But let's just take a moment to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being woke, for being the aware, the enlightened, for being, and we are all one, all right? Let's remember that. We're all one. Unless you wear socks with sandals and you're a dude, then you guys, you're your own thing. Other than that, all one.
I don't know that we should say that socks with sandals are okay for non-men.
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 Like men made out of bread. Is that what you mean? Non-men? Men who are really into Indian bread.
People who don't identify as men should also not wear socks with sandals. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks.
I don't think any gender should wear socks with sandals.
Breaking.
Just saying.
All genders banned from socks with sandals.
Just saying.
So should we get to how the Democrats are banning third parties, or should we stick on this for a while?
I'd really like to talk more about socks with sandals. No.
I mean, I brought it up, so I can't complain.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to move on.
All right. So we brought to you on a past live stream, we brought you the fact that Matthew Ho, and I also interviewed him on Moment of Clarity as well. So you maybe were introduced to Matthew Ho, military veteran running for office as in a Green Party candidate in North Carolina, very anti-war, anti-imperialist, all of those cool things. And so let's just say the North Carolina Democrats and really the Republicans also don't want him running because he makes them look like clowns and he makes them look pro-war, which they are. And he got all of the signatures. So the first thing that necessary to be on the ballot. So the first thing they did was and this is what I showed on a past live stream, was they showed that they were texting people who had signed, put their signatures for those ballots. And the text said, are you aware these take votes away from Democrats?
Wait. I have it.
Well, I featured it last time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I was just jumping through it to get to the next part.
Oh, fine.
But you can read it.
No, I don't want to.
I didn't know that would dissuade you from participating.
Well, it's like I brought something for show and tell, and then the teacher's like, "No, I'm sorry. Somebody already showed that last week." Well, fine.
All right. I'm sorry that happened. Anyway, they were sending out these texts to people who had signed to get the Matthew Ho, the Green Party, on the ballot. And the text said, are you aware these take votes away from Democrats? It hurts Democrats, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to look into having your signature removed, etc.? It was ridiculous and anti-democratic and it's essentially fraud, trying to make sure that Matthew Ho didn't get on the ballot. But it didn't work. They didn't dissuade enough people to get them to remove their signatures. So Matthew Ho still should have been on the ballot. Anyway, here's the update today, and I'm going to play a quick 1-minute video, but they basically had a hearing where they decided that he couldn't run on the ballot, that the Green Party couldn't be on the ballot. Go ahead.
I don't have anything to add at the moment.
Oh, okay. You breathed in, and I thought that was I'm going to say something. All right, so here is Matthew Ho speaking about it. It's just a 1-minute, 30-second video.
And to have this, to be told that you committed fraud, but we have no evidence of it. It just, what it does, Kevin, though, is it reinforces what we're doing and why we're doing it. The two-party system is corrupt, it's undemocratic, and it's harmful. And this is why we are running as a third party to create a multi-party democracy. I think if I had to sum up what happened today, it's very simple. They did what they did because they could. Simple as that. These three members of the board all are appointed by Governor Cooper. They're loyal to Governor Cooper. And that is, I think, all you have to know, because, again, there is no due process here. We were denied opportunity to speak. They've had 30 days to investigate. You know, one of the things that was interesting that was brought up was, I'll stop here so you know, but one of the things that was brought up by one of the Republican board members is that in 2020, there was no verification of signatures of anything. So in 2020, the State Board of Elections did not conduct one single verification of anything in that election cycle. But now in this cycle, as the Green Party's here, the Democratic-controlled State Board of Elections is now taking more than the authorized time to go through these. And then even on the last possible day saying, we think there could be, so we want to hold this up. And holding it up would have put us into a whole different type of problem anyway, but they just ended up not certifying us at all.
So there you go. They just threw out the signatures and his chance to get on the ballot.
Well, and they're going to, he said that they're going to take legal action, right? But I'm not saying that we should expect much from that, but he's going to push it further, right? And
yeah, he's going to continue trying to fight this. He's going to send the lawyers in to tell them to go fuck themselves. I think that's legalese, right? But the fucking Democrats got together and they just said, yeah, we don't like this. So no, you're not on the ballot, even though you got way over the number of signatures necessary.
Well, and I think, didn't they initially demand that he get more signatures than originally was what he was supposed to have? And then they like upped the number of signatures that he had to have. And then he got those signatures. And even then they're like, oh shit. Well, particularly then they're like, oh shit, we have to find a different way, because this is what the Democrats do, right? We saw it with Bernie Sanders, and that they ensure, and actually Debbie Wasserman Schultz said this actually in an interview. So she said the quiet part loud. She was like, well, we have this system in place. She was talking about the super delegates. She's like, we have this system in place to ensure that activists don't run for office.
No, that she said that party, like, I don't know, she said party elite or party higher ups, whatever she phrased it, don't have to run against grassroots activists. Right. You're like, did you just fucking say that? Did you just say
the quiet part loud?
That literally we try and make sure that the grassroots, the real people, the real human beings fighting for these causes don't run against the fucking rich oligarch shitbags.
Yeah, which is why I've said before, and I think Matthew Ho is an amazing human being, and I do hope that they get a lot more focus on what's happening with this. And if anybody lives in North Carolina, if anybody knows outlets that would be willing to cover this, I think this is a really important thing to uplift. But
and
I will also,
and you're a former North Kakalaki person as well.
I'm a North Kakalakian.
Kakalakan?
Yes, I am.
Kakalakan.
Kakalakian. But I think also this is a good time to point out that we cannot rely on electoralism to save us. And I talk about this a lot as somebody who has worked on campaigns before, as somebody who felt very strongly about electoral politics for a very long time. But this is not where our main focus should lie. As the saying goes, you can't dismantle master's house with master's tools. And as Emma Goldman said, if voting really worked, they'd make it illegal. So I think that it is really important to throw our energies in other places other than electoralism. Why the fuck am I having such a hard time? You know, I need more coffee. Excuse me. I'll be back with you momentarily.
Well, that's another one of those words designed to make you sound drunk. You're supposed to sound drunk when you say electoralism. But no, this exactly what you're saying. This proves how insane putting our hope for humanity in electoralism is. Like, to fight for that and to have the Democrats, but if it were something that was going to hurt the Republicans, they'd do it as well. So it's not yes, this one happens to be the Democrats, but it doesn't fucking matter. It's both of them. And they go in there and they go, yeah, no. The thing where you were going to run against us for office, yeah, just no. Just no, because it turns out we looked in the books and we looked in the bylaws, and it turns out we own the state house. So we're just not going to let you do that. So yeah, have a nice day. It's been nice of you to show up and bring all these signatures, all these hundred whatever thousand signatures. Very nice of you to show up.
Very cute, your efforts.
It's cute. It's adorable. But just I just read here and it says no. It just says no here. So I mean, that's what it is. They are the mafia. They just own it'd be like a fucking low level Italian guy in the mob walking in and being like, boss, Godfather, I'd like to run against you for Godfather. And him just being like, yeah, or I could just kill you. Oh, okay.
I mean, I'd appreciate the straightforwardness of just if they just went ahead and killed people to try to run again. At least that would solidify the totalitarianism in like a really neat way, as opposed to this backdoor shit. That's the Democrats are so good at this, right? They always do this backdoor shit, and then they come out and they're like, BLM and pride and we care about the environment, and it's like that is to me way more disgusting than the Republicans, because the Republicans are straight up. They're like, fuck you, fuck everybody, fuck the environment, fuck anybody who's not a white man. The Democrats are like, we love everybody, but then they do the same shit as the Republicans. To me, that's more fucked up.
I hear you. I feel your anger.
Thank you.
Speaking of how in your face the Republicans are with this shit, our next story, and we have a bunch to get to, folks. So please, thanks for hanging out with us, and please click like and share, and all that stuff helps the algorithm, which hates us. I talked to the algorithm the other day. It fucking said it's not into our shit. So, oh, someone, by the way, is asking where they can watch or download Hard Road of Hope, Eleanor's documentary.
Thank you for asking. You can watch it at hardroadofhope.com. I don't know. Can I type? Can I?
Well, allow me, since the angle on the laptop is hard here.
He just doesn't want me touching his laptop.
That's right.
Hardroadofhope.com.
Okay, so next story, speaking of how in your face the bullshit has gotten.
Also, somebody just quoted a Coolio song, and that made me really happy because that takes me back. Do you remember Gangster's Paradise?
Oh man, I was into Gangster's Paradise. I think I own. Yes, I think I own. It was one of the few, like 3 or 2 or something, CD single, where you put the CD in just to play that one song. There was nothing else on the thing. It was just Gangster's Paradise.
Nice.
I forgot those even existed. I owned like 3 of those. Like,
yeah,
because the amount of effort
one as well. That's like a stupid amount of.
Because the amount of effort to put it in that little personal pan pizza machine and just like hit the play for one song.
Oh, see, but I just did the thing where I had like the whole CD, but I just kept hitting the back button to listen to that one song. I don't even know what fucking songs are on that album. I have no idea.
Oh, nobody knows what's on that album. It's literally nobody even remembers that movie except for that song. Wasn't that the Michelle Pfeiffer song, movie where she goes into the inner city schools and teaches the kids or something?
Oh, I have no idea.
You're off. You know the story though. The white teacher goes in and shows the thugs how to be, I don't know, white in a white man's world or something.
Anyway,
someone in the comment section will know what movie I'm talking about. Was it called Gangster's Paradise? No, it's called something else. Too much. All right.
Too on the nose.
Well, someone will tell me what movie I'm thinking of. I hope.
Move forward.
I hope.
In the meantime.
All right, we're moving forward. In Texas, they're working to change the word slavery to involuntary relocation. Yes, this is not The Onion. This is not The Onion. They legit Dangerous Minds. Boom, motherfuckers.
God.
You don't remember Dangerous Minds?
I didn't see it. I wasn't allowed to watch television during the week, so there's a lot of movies I missed out on.
Gangster's Paradise played in the movie Dangerous Minds. Ha ha!
All right.
How
Okay.
on my game am
I
I?
am so glad that we answered that question.
Listen.
I feel like we can just wrap right now.
We can wrap right now. I'm going to retitle this live stream after that. Breaking news. Dangerous Minds included the song Gangster's Paradise. So
Okay.
in Texas, they are legitimately trying to change the word slavery, because if you change the word, that means it never happened.
Well, also
And-
slavery makes white people uncomfortable, not the institution. That makes white people very comfortable. The concept of learning about it
Right.
makes white people uncomfortable. So we really want to make sure that white people aren't uncomfortable. And
Mhm.
so we need to not call it slavery. I don't even know why they call it involuntary. They should call it unfortunate relocation or something, because involuntary, that also sounds like it could be a little violent, don't you think? It should be unfortunate or mistaken.
Surprise. Surprise relocation is what it should be. Yes, you are correct. Involuntary. Well, it's term, the term slowly changes over years. And I think, it's slavery, and then it'll get to involuntary relocation, and eventually it'll be surprise relocation. And then eventually, every time we talk about slavery, we'll just call it being surprised. And that'll be the entirety of the understanding. And because you erase the terms, you erase people's understanding of the reality.
Right.
But this is so fucking insane. This is like renaming kidnapping,
relocation opportunity.
involuntary ice cream in a windowless van. It's fucked.
Yeah, no, this is not like a totally new story. There have been school boards that have, and oftentimes it involves Texas, that have been trying to basically downplay not just slavery, but the civil rights movement, Jim Crow, the Reconstruction era, of course, the genocide of the Native Americans or the indigenous peoples. And so this is not anything new. I mean, this even in places before they started actively trying to nicify this language. I mean, I don't know if y'all had the same thing, but in my school in North Carolina, it was like, Happy Thanksgiving. The people with buckles on their hats got corn from the people with feathers in their hair, and everyone lived happily ever after. And it's like,
wait, that's not what happened? Are you saying they didn't really have buckles? If they didn't have buckles, I'm fucking flipping this table over. I don't give a shit.
So yeah, this is a further dumbing down and whitewashing and a violent, and I think it's also important to note how violent this kind of I don't even want to say like restructuring of history. It's fucking it's
restructuring of people's minds.
Well, yeah, but it's not a restructuring of history. It's just a bag of fucking lies. And this is a violence, because without that history, without understanding that history, we can't possibly understand our present, because we can't see the distinct connections between our realities today, where slavery is still legal, by the way. I think we talked about this last week, because it says in the
prison.
13th Amendment that slavery is illegal except in the case of a crime. But that if we don't understand the history of our country and the history of what's happened to people who basically aren't white landowning men, then we have no fucking context of where we are. And so this is a violence to the present to erase history in this way. And I think it's really important to highlight that as well.
And by the way, hold on. The Texas Education Agency and the State Board of Education have both taken to Twitter to insist the claims are false that they're considering doing this. The SBOE chair insisted our state's curriculum will not downplay the role of slavery in American history. However, both agencies confirm the existence of a working group that had been looking at changing the social studies curriculum and was responsible for the proposed language that for now is being rejected. So the proposal from the working group did exist.
So they just said, that's not true, but it's true.
They said it's not true, but give us a year. Hold our beer. We're gonna do it later.
You know what? We're gonna get back to this when you're not looking.
Yeah, exactly. That is absolutely not true. Now, you guys face the other direction, okay? We're going to be doing something. You just go look that way. The shiny thing's over there. Look, is that Britney Spears? She tweeted something on Instagram, which I realized doesn't work. And go look at that, okay? Face that way. And we're going to be over here changing every fucking word you've ever used to describe the systemic racism so that you can't use them anymore. From now on, the word racism is Jello. Good luck talking about that. Good luck trying to explain that to friends. Listen, dude, there's been Jello in our country for fucking 200 years. And everybody goes, well, I don't know what he's saying. I don't know, but he seems angry. I don't know.
I mean, that's fair. I really don't like Jello.
There you go.
I think it's a little less atrocious than slavery, but I generally do not like Jello.
Why do you think the chocolate Jello and the is there?
Wait,
no, there's no chocolate Jello.
No, I think that's called chocolate pudding.
Why do you think the chocolate pudding and the vanilla pudding are in separate cups? Huh?
Sorry, was that not a rhetorical question?
I'm just leaving that. I'm just letting it sit.
Okay.
Letting it sit.
That's fine.
You got to deal with that.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's move on to another story. We're really flying through them this week. This is from Ecuador, where they actually fought back and won. Well, this is before the update, so I'll get to the update in 1 second. Ecuador indigenous groups have led a national rebellion over inflation. An alliance of indigenous organizations in Ecuador have held daily demonstrations after sharp increases in cost for fuel and food. What is there any other place you can think of where there's been sharp increases in the cost of fuel and food? Are you familiar with that happening anywhere else?
The Vatican?
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
I heard the Pope Mobile has had to go solar because of the fuel increase.
I heard the Pope-mobile, couldn't afford enough petrol, so he had to have his little guys in the weird Charlie and the Chocolate Factory outfits, the Oompa Loompa outfits they have to wear. They had to pull them.
The Swiss Guard?
The Swiss Guard.
Yeah.
The Swiss Chard had to pull them in his Pope-mobile because he couldn't afford it.
Oh my God, can they please dress up as Swiss Chard? That would be amazing. I mean, their costumes are already ridiculous. I feel like.
Do they not look a little like Oompa Loompas, like tall Oompa Loompas?
I think I need a side-by-side comparison.
All right, we'll work on that.
Okay.
The Confederation of Indigenous Nationalities of Ecuador began their general strike actions on June 13th after huge price hikes crippled the capacity of rural and urban communities to access transportation and food for their households. So here they are. They stood up against it, and then the update.
God, I don't know how you keep all these buttons.
All these tabs.
Yeah. Well, the tabs I get, but the
Ecuador government and indigenous leaders reached deal to end protests. They fucking won is what they did. They fucking won. The deal includes fuel price decreases and other concessions, bringing an end to weeks of anti-government demonstrations. Led by the indigenous organization CANE, the protest began on June 13th. I already said that, amid anger over soaring fuel prices, cost of living, bliggity blaggity, and they won. They fucking won. So why can't we do that?
That's the power of organizing. There's some amazing. If you want to see some images from these strikes and these protests, you can check out Day Laborer Network on Instagram. There's some really powerful images from the protests. And
here's one here.
The police, and I don't know if that's the military or if that's just how their police dress, but the police there and whoever that is got violent, and people continue to show up. They continued to demand justice, and the protests grew in response to the violence as opposed to shrinked. And
Shrink.
What did I say?
Shrinked, but
this coffee is not working, dude. I don't know. Okay. You know what? I'm just hold on.
Yeah, this looks rather violent.
Yeah. So, and this is, if you've ever been to a protest in the US, this does not look like anything unusual. I mean, the tear gas, the cops instigating violence, this is not unusual. And I think it's in particular important to highlight that these were indigenous led protests and strikes. And so indigenous people have experienced more violence at the hands of the state, whether that state is the United States or Ecuador or Colombia or what have you. So that is another important thing to highlight. And fuck, I mean, this is so powerful and so fantastic, and it really shows the power. I mean, it becomes trite to talk about the power of the people, but truly, the power of the people is the sharpest weapon that we have. It is the most powerful weapon that we have. And you compare that to electoral politics. Sorry to go back to this, but it's like, do you think if we, because we have done this, just try to vote our way to cheaper gas prices or better working conditions, or food that's not only affordable but healthy, has that ever worked so far? I don't see it. So the power of these kind of protests cannot really be overestimated, and huge props to the folks in Ecuador, and may it spread.
What do you feel stands in the way the most in the United States of large-scale protests having an impact?
Well, I think one of the problems is the size of our country. It's very difficult to get people on the same page. And when you do get people on the same page, what are the places that you organize, the places that you show up are so varied that it's hard to cripple the US economy just because it's so spread out. It's centralized in the sense of banks and things like that, but like if one port on the East Coast were blocked, okay, but there are oodles. So I think it's a bit difficult with the scale of the United States. I think it's also difficult with the in terms of the comfortability. We in the US are kind of trained to be adaptable in a really dangerous way. And there's a sort of comfortability even with the oppression that many people experience in terms of having 3 jobs and they're a single parent and et cetera, et cetera. There's this
they call it the precariat, an incredibly precarious situation for the proletariat, where they're barely making ends meet. They're working all hours, so they don't even have the time to go out on the streets, fight back, any of that stuff.
And I'm reminded of something that I was talking to Eugene Perrier, who's the host of Breakthrough News. He was saying, I think a lot of people talk about the Dems being the most dangerous threat to the left. I think really what it is the lack of agency. People don't feel that they have any agency to change something, and so they don't bother to show up. They don't bother to organize. They just feel defeated before they even start. And so he was saying that he felt that one of the most important thing for us to do is to build agency together and connect our agency to actually being able to change things, to believe that we can change things. And for folks who have ever traveled around the US, or you could probably speak to this even in your own community, there are people, people know shit's fucked up. You don't need to have a fucking PhD in political science to know shit is fucked up. But then feeling that there's anything that we can do about it. Shit is
fucked up 101 is where I learned that.
Then feeling like there's anything that we can do about it, that is a huge leap. And I think that is really a systemic, that's done systemically on purpose, because it's really comfortable and easy for people to rule over people who feel defeated. And I'm not bashing people for feeling defeated. I fucking feel defeated a lot of the time. And so I think that together, something that we really need to work on is connecting to that agency and recognizing that we do have the ability to change shit. It is just not easy, and we have to rely on each other as opposed to relying on any sort of electoral system.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's a combination of people who are too comfortable to want to change anything, people who are very not comfortable and struggling, but struggling so hard that they're lucky if they have time to teach their kid to shit in the right spot, and they don't have time to be out on the streets on the picket line and everything else. So it's those two things. You have a lot of comfort and a lot of hardship wrapped up, and the two sides of things But I think we have seen more people standing up with the unions sweeping across the country and things like that.
And by comfortability, I don't actually mean that people have comfortable lives. I mean that there's a comfort with discomfort. There's a comfort with being oppressed. So I'm not trying to say that the overwhelming majority of people in the U.S. have it easy. They have quite the opposite. But there's a kind of like a leaning back into it and being like, well, I guess this is life, you know. And you'll see that like on, you know, like you go to those like cute little stores, and then there's like some like quote on like that somebody painted on a piece of old tin or something, and it's supposed to look all homey, and it's like, you know, I wish I had it as easy as you do, or something, you know, bullshit like that. Like when I was a kid, and you know, and if it's not hard, it doesn't matter, which I saw in a sex shop once, but but this kind of shit that it's like, oh, well, it's supposed to be painful. It's supposed to be awful. It's supposed to be oppressive. Otherwise, it's not freedom. It's like, that's actually the opposite. Freedom and liberation should be fucking liberatory. It should feel good.
This sounds like if you want healthcare, if you want to afford healthcare, then you should stop eating avocado toast. And people are like, what? Couldn't I have both healthcare and a piece of avocado toast?
I demand healthcare and avocado toast. I actually heard a woman say that outside HHS in DC, and I will forever love that.
All right, we're moving on to the next story, and after this next story, the live stream, the episode will continue only at rumble.com/Lee Camp. That's rumble.com/Lee Camp. YouTube has deleted thousands of my videos, so I am forced to start a new page. So it's rumble.com/Lee Camp. That is where this will continue, but we'll do one more story before we cut off the other feeds. And by the way, it's free there. It's free to watch. It's free to comment, everything else. So hope you'll go over there and click subscribe. So this is Peter Kalmus tweeting. He is a NASA scientist, climate scientist, who has gotten involved in protesting. And I had him on my live stream fairly recently to talk about his arrest, getting arrested, chaining himself to a bank that is continuing to fund the climate apocalypse that we're facing. And anyway, this is what he had to say today, or the other day. No, today. Breaking news. Biden announces plans to expand oil and gas drilling in the Gulf of Mexico and Alaska the day after the devastating Supreme Court decision on climate, and despite clear warnings from the world's climate scientists that fossil fuel expansion must end immediately. So here is your lovely, wonderful, we care about the climate Democrats doing what they always do, which is care a lot about the climate. I mean, honestly, if I could, they just care and they care and they care, and they're out there just trying to help the environment, and they think they can do that by signing more oil and gas leases for big oil, for big coal and everything else. They think that probably is the best way to save the environment, because the reason the earth is heating up is that there's too much oil underneath us, and the oil underneath our feet is actually causing the heating. So if big oil can suck all of that out, then we'll have a much cooler planet. I think I understand that correctly. I've been watching a lot of Fox News. So.
I haven't thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting it that way.
Yeah. Your thoughts on Biden signing more oil and gas drilling?
I can't. I just can't. What have I just said about electoralism? I mean, well, first of all, fuck Biden and the racist piece of shit horse that he rode in on. Which is the Democrats. Well, they're a donkey. Really,
they're a donkey.
Whatever,
they're not a horse. They're a donkey.
Okay.
Yeah. They're an ass, actually, technically.
They're an ass. But
we have the asses and the elephant in the room. Those are the two sides of our political parties.
I just can't. I can't. I don't know that I have anything to say, Lee. I'm just so angry.
I feel you.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing this isn't on radio because that was just, 3 seconds of dead air. That's not allowed. Anyway.
It is also a podcast.
But not on terrestrial radio. Anyway, point is, I have nothing. I feel like I almost have nothing. You know, like when you're done grieving and then you're just like, I have nothing less. Like, I have no tears left. I have nothing left to say. I'm tired of talking about, like, I'm just so fucking tired of talking about how destructive, I would say useless, but he's not useless. He's very useful to the people destroying the planet. I'm just so tired of talking about how destructive and fucked up Biden is. I'm so, it's so draining.
And the goons that surround him. I mean,
most of these keep him upright. Yes.
Most of the decisions that he's told to make are by these fucking idiots. You know, it's like, it really, our presidency now is an elder care facility. It's just people walking him and going, this is where you go next. And he goes, yeah.
I'm surprised they let him talk on his own anymore.
But, that's not to let him off the hook. It is his sociopathy. These are all sociopaths, by the way. They don't have any understanding or empathy for those that they are killing. And he's surrounded by them, and he is one. And of course, the Republicans are equally bad.
Well, he basically is a Republican. I mean,
but in a way, by Trump doing things like saying climate change isn't real and pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords that were meaningless to begin with, in a way, and this is what you said earlier, in a way, it let people go, holy shit, we got to do something. Mm-hmm. But of course, then everyone in America is told to channel that anger, that fury, that ire into voting Democrat, which is fucking insanity.
Well, that's why, I mean,
it's insanity.
The day that Biden was officially announced as president, DC, we were in DC at the time. DC was fucking celebrating, and I remember going to see
93%
voted for him.
They voted 93% for Biden.
And I'm not saying they should have voted for Trump, but can I get like an I abstain or fuck this mess?
Could we get like a 30 or 90% for a third party, something like that?
So I remember seeing one of my friends with mutual aid, and they were just like, I'm so fucking angry at all of these, and they organize a lot with Black Lives Matter and with defunding the police. And it was like, y'all are cheering for a racist, a racist, sexist war criminal. Why are you cheering? That is so fucked up. But it is such a perfect example of the brainwashing effects of the two-party system, that people honestly think that somebody good won the presidency that day. That was far more depressing than finding out that Trump won. That was just because these people, if you met them, they'd be like, of course, I believe in climate change and I want to see something done about it. And I think racism is bad. And yet they are fucking excited that Biden won. Like, the fucking, like, the what do you call it? The mental, like, the cognitive dissonance is just, it's so thick you could like cut this shit with a knife. And I'm you know what, I'm gonna roll off of my soapbox because I'm just too tired to even step off of it.
I think you summed it up well.
Did I think I just kind of ranted for a bit.
And this is at a time, he signed these oil and gas leases in a time when, last month there was a week where a third of the United States was being told not to go outdoors. And I'm doing a video on that coming up. But when a third of the country is told outside is toxic, that might be time to fucking change things up, to not keep doing the same shit we've been doing. I mean, to not, and people don't understand the depth of, I talk about the layers of reality. People don't understand the depth of how fucked up the situation is. Because you start off on like, well, I don't like Biden. Okay, well, that's surface level. Then you get down to well, we need to do something about climate change. Then you get down to the fucking petrodollar based on petroleum. The energy and the force and the power of the American empire is based on petroleum. So there is no reason for that empire to ever go against petroleum. And if it does, it will undermine the dollar, which will undermine the empire. So you got to get off the petrodollar if you ever want anything to be done about climate change.
Yeah. Oh, and well, this was just the point that I was going to make, which is at that day when Biden won, there were several organizers in DC with Black Lives Matter, Defund the Police, that just said a bunch of white people are going to turn around and go home now. And that totally happened. The protests that happened against police brutality, against white supremacy, and all that shit that happened after Biden won were far less populated than they had been when Trump was still president. And that's fucking dumb, because Biden has a much longer political history of racism than Trump did. And this is, I mean, it's the same thing with the environment, right? People are not showing up to these fucking climate chaos protests because they're like, oh, well, Biden's in office. And it's like, exactly. That's exactly why you have to show up. And, you know, it's dark. It's fucking.
He's going to handle it. He's going to handle it. All right. So I meant it that sarcastically. We're gonna head over to rumble.com/Lee Camp. If you're already there, you don't have to worry. This will continue. If you aren't already there, I hope you will join us there. It is free to join us there. Rumble.com/Lee Camp.
Come hang out.
And what story would you like to go to next?
I don't know.
Name one. Anyone.
Oh, well, since we're talking about Biden.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh,
another wonderful Biden decision.
Are you switching? Should I wait?
No.
Are you switching?
Start. Go.
Okay. So
Ready, set, go.
This is with regards to judges and, of course, Biden, as you can see. And I really like the headline. Biden is nominating an